on Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way. It is Tuesday evening, and I am excited. Because Tuesday is one of my favorite days of the week. And why is Tuesday my favorite day of the week? Because I get to play with whomever I want to play with. I get to play with you, the listeners that come in, you, the people that listen to it after it's over. And also, I get to introduce you to a wonderful guest. I get to introduce you to people that are like committed to their lives, what they do for a living. They're actually enjoying themselves. They're expanding. They're growing. It's like they're making a difference in the world. They're making a difference in their lives and the world through their lives. And it's really exciting. And, my show is about people who are passionate about their lives, whether they're bootstrapping it, whether they're working for somebody, whether they've made up something that it's brand new, that's never been done before, or it's something that they've always wanted to do and they remember creating as a child. So there's lots of different ways how we come to who we are. But the beauty of me having people on this show is that they've actually come to who they are. They have a purpose and they're committed to living on purpose. And I love it. So I'm just really excited about Tuesdays. I know I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, it's Tuesday. Wow, it got here so quickly. But then when 6 o'clock hits and I'm getting ready to like make my way down here, and then I go meet my guest, I'm like, I'm on. I'm ready to go. So last week, Friday was International Women's Day, and it should be International Women's Day every single day. And you know what? I read an article, not a little writing from a friend of mine, and he said, if we had respect for women, we wouldn't have to have an International Day, International Women's Days. If we had love for women, if we really considered women as equal human beings, there wouldn't be a need for International Women's Day, right? If we loved each other and gave gifts and things like that, there wouldn't be a need for Valentine's Day.
Is there an International Men's Day?
No, I don't think so. Is
Good
there?
point. I don't think so.
I'm not sure about that.
We're unaware, right?
Yeah, it's International Man's Day every day.
Okay, there we
right.
go.
It's
okay.
As was it James Brown said, it's a man's world, but it's a man's world. But there'd be nothing without a woman or a girl. So it's International Women's Day. It is also Women's History Month. So I just want to really do a shout out to all the women. Hey, Charlotte, Charlene, and Naomi, and Madeline. I want to say happy International Day. I mean, really, women have fought. This holiday has been, well, it's not a holiday, but this acknowledgement of this day has been around for a very long time.
Right.
It's been around since the 20s or something since the women's suffragette.
I was surprised when I heard you say that last interview.
Right.
You did.
So it's been around a good while, and we tend to think that, we created it, but it was created a long time ago. It was done by the Communist Party, and then the Socialist Party took it on, and now it's just like a recognition for all of us. But we've come a long way, and there's still a long way to go for us as women, but we're making super, super strides, and I'm loving it. I am absolutely loving it. So on that note, I would like to introduce you to my guest, Miss Tricia. See, if I don't mess up your name, if I don't mess up your name, we're not having a good show. Tricia Benn with 2 N's.
That's correct. Yes.
And she is the executive vice president at the Heroes.
Well, C-Suite
Network, which is.
And then I'm the general manager of the Hero Club within the C-Suite.
Right. And so she's going to tell us all about the C-Suite. And I can't say, I'm sweating. My sister told me not to say that. She goes, I'm sick of you. But I am. I'm having the pawsies, okay?
Noreen, this is why we connected in the first place when we met.
Exactly.
It's because it's,
sweating.
At the end of the day, business is about being real, being authentic.
Absolutely.
And these are the things that we live through.
Absolutely. But you know what's so funny? I mean, I wanted you to introduce, but on that note, what's so funny about my sweating is that when nobody told me about menopause. Nobody spoke to me about menopause. I think I remember asking my mom once, and she said, I had a couple of sweats and that was it. It was over. But I do remember when I was in my 20s and I was working for a Japanese bank, there was one of the executive secretaries, and she always had a container of sanitary napkins in her drawer.
And now you know why.
Wait.
Okay.
Positioned in a way that they could be seen, right?
Okay.
And now I look back because I'm like, this woman was way past that age, right? But because of the nature of woman, age, all that kind of stuff, I guess she wanted to give the illusion that she was still young and virile and, all that kind of stuff. But it's weird. Nobody talks about it. Everybody, I don't know. I'm sweating all the time. And I never see anybody sweating. I just don't understand it.
In my family, that's an issue that's way later,
Right.
So I'm not quite there yet.
Girl.
But in my office, this has become an issue. There's somebody with no body fat. So literally the temperature is 80 degrees, so I can relate.
Well, it's 80 degrees in my apartment anyway, but then I'm still sweating.
Yeah.
So anyway, welcome to the show. We always just jump right in. Yeah. So I want you to introduce yourself to the people. Tell them a little bit. Who are you? How did you get to be the way you are? Are you originally from the United States? Are you from New York? Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about what I do first and what the C-Suite Network and Hero Club is, just to kind of set the groundwork. So the C-Suite Network is essentially just an enormous platform for executives. So we want everyone who's an executive to come in, play, create value, and grow their businesses and be fabulously successful.
Is it a subscription? What is it?
Yeah, so we have subscriptions, but we also have C-Suite TV, C-Suite Radio. We have more than 60 live events we do across North America. We have different groupings of executives and all kinds of services and benefits. So it's just a really large platform for everybody who wants to do great things with their success to come and play and do great work. And then obviously for partners and sponsors to be able to provide that kind of content and so on that will drive that.
So people are sharing their knowledge that they've garnered throughout the years, and it's across the gamut.
It's trusted advisors, relationships, services, benefits, everything you need to be successful as an executive today. Right. Because there's a lot of executive connections and sort of old school formats. But what does it look like today when we look at the demands on executives? Right. And then at the full gamut of what that means in terms of all the areas of expertise we have to have, all the contacts and relationships and partnerships and so on. We're coming from a place of abundance and total technological disruption. So, it's...
So do you think an executive, let's look at an executive today, and an executive maybe 30 years ago, what shifted?
So, obviously there's the technology, right? And we all know that there's all the social and technological solutions, all the big data that comes from that. And those are all massive conversations. But just think about 30 years ago, if you were an executive in your industry and you were on the board of directors of your state or national association and you knew the executive publisher in your industry, you had it made. Really, your career was set because every big player in the industry, you'd have window into everything that was topical and exciting and happening, and you would be positioned as a leader. Okay. Right? Well, then with all the disruption, those business models are incredibly challenged. Right. In terms of just the business models, let alone the fragmented market they're trying to get out into. And I spent a decade in traditional media, and also I sat on the board of directors for a national association for a few years, was a treasurer for a few years. So, in terms of business models, that's really challenged. But also, how do you deliver against that need that executives still have? So the problem state is the same. The challenge is there's so much more to feed it. So how do you, and that's what excited me about coming into the C-Suite Network. I was a chief marketing and strategy officer within a $3 billion holding company. I had P&L responsibilities for a U.S. business. And I heard about the C-Suite Network and the vision our chairman, Jeffrey Hazlett, had. And I thought, well, this is brilliant because this is a platform where everybody can bring what they do best for executives to the platform and not have to do all the stuff they don't do well. Right.
Yes, I would say leave leave the work let the professional do what the professional does.
Right.
And leave it alone. Let them do it.
Well, and I have faith in business models.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a smart business model where you can scale it successfully as people come and gain value from what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
then that's a smart model to have.
Okay.
And so that's what excited me about coming into
how did
the
you get
C-suite
there?
network.
So you worked for a $1 billion company,
Yep.
and you were the treasurer, and you were responsible for profit and loss. But how did you get there?
Yeah. So, so the whole story.
Like, who are you?
Okay.
Where you raised on a farm somewhere?
I was.
You were. Oh,
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I was just kidding. Okay.
No, I literally was. And I'll add to it. I'm Canadian.
Right.
So I was raised on what
Did you say A?
I don't. I just was criticized today for not saying A to give it away. But at the end of the day, I was raised on what we call a hobby farm.
Okay.
So we had every manner of animals, and I grew up with the full freedom and confidence in myself, my body, my brain.
Right.
My father was an electrician. My mother trained as a veterinarian. So
and you had a hobby farm.
Yeah, hobby farm. So goats, pigs, horses, cows.
Did you slaughter anything?
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. I will never look at the saying chicken without its head cut off, or with its head cut off in the same way. It was not a great experience.
So you had hobby farm. Okay. So how many brothers and sisters? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yeah. So my brother's 8 years younger than me. My sister's 11 years younger than me. My mom was a veterinarian and ran all of the research facilities for the largest agricultural university in Canada. So she had a really big job.
That's a big deal.
Yes. So
Given that she was a woman.
Yes. It was incredible, really, truly incredible. And I can share a story even just from International Women's Day on Friday.
You told me about that story.
Yeah. But it was an exceptional experience. My grandmother before that built her own business.
Oh, what was her business?
She did office supply and kind of like secretarial services.
Right.
Fastest typist you ever want to meet.
She's probably a shorthand too.
Oh, she was incredible and beautiful. Cursive writing, of course. But yeah, I'm third generation crazy woman. It never occurred to me until university that there was any possibility that women weren't ruling the world.
Right. Because they ruled it.
They ruled it in my life. Right. I had no idea.
So you had really good foundation, like woman,
I absolutely
confidence, who you are as woman.
And I had that from my mother, and my mother shared her business experience, building teams, the success of what she was doing.
You had it from your grandmother.
And communicating. My grandmother, absolutely.
Then your mother, and then you.
Absolutely. But also the men in my life. My grandfather was very invested in me and taught me things that I could do. I was hammering nails when I was, 3-4 years old. By the time I was 5, my dad was teaching me how to drive tractor.
Oh, nice.
I was taught to be very capable. To this day, I'm 47 years old, and I visit my father, and he puts me to work. I might be splitting wood. I might be leveling driveways. I mean, I never quite know what I might be doing.
Yeah, but it keeps you engaged.
It does. It keeps
you alive.
It does. And it also, what we do is so in the head.
Right.
To actually start out to fix something physical.
Right.
And do it. And you feel a little bit of ache and pain.
And it's good that you have Canada that you can go back to, because here in New York, oftentimes, what do we fix?
Right. Well,
I might hammer a picture thing clip into the wall every now and then, but I'm not painting it. Okay. So we're going to, I just got the signal for a break. So I'm going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network. Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumpter, the Potentiator. Tune in every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, on talkradio.nyc. Who
do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo!
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
And we're back on Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, and I am with Tricia Benn. So you were saying we were talking about the hobby farm. We were talking about, living in New York, you really are not you're using your body to create anything. So when you go home, your parents put you to work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I don't even live in New York.
Right.
I'm here, 1 or 2 weeks a month. I'm headquartered here. Yeah. I live in Pittsburgh now because I married a Pittsburgh boy. So
you're only here
and
1 or 2 weeks.
I travel a great deal. Yes, I travel all across North America all the time, looking for great leaders for our Hero Club and partners in our network. So, I'm on the road a great deal. But speaking of New York, my latest thing was in our corporate apartment. There was a doorknob that had broken apart, and I actually remembered to bring the Gorilla Glue. And get that knob put back together. So, you can,
That's right.
you can bring some of those skill sets.
Oh my God, that's really great.
Yeah.
So you live in Pittsburgh.
I do.
And you're here a couple times a month.
At least, yeah.
So this is like a real delight for me because I had it that you lived here.
No, I'm literally, it's so funny. I feel so confused when people ask me where I'm from.
Right.
Because I live in Pittsburgh, but I work out of here as my headquarter.
Right.
I grew up outside of Toronto, Canada. I've lived in England.
Right.
We connected on that when we met, just in Oxford. And then of course I travel. I've lived in different places in Canada as well. So I'm a little bit all over.
And when it comes to where you are. Where am I today? Where am I waking up?
I love that diversity though. Mm-hmm. It's just so wonderful.
So you have children, you have 2 girls.
I do. I have 2 girls, 13 years old and 8 years old.
Wow.
Yep. And you
have a stay-at-home husband.
I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I used to think my thought about that in the past was like, how do they do that? Mm-hmm. But now, my neighbor, he was a stay-at-home dad. Mm-hmm. And he was really great with the children. I mean, they've moved now, which I'm kind of sad about because I'm not going to see the kids anymore. But I think it's just as tough for them as it is I think it's even tougher for them actually than it is for women. But I think it's really great. A man has to be really committed to be a stay-at-home father.
Do you know, it's interesting. I don't think my husband would be offended to say that a stay-at-home dad is not the same as a stay-at-home mom. Okay. First and foremost.
Please explain.
Well, the things that we would naturally assume as women would be our responsibility may not be a man's natural inclination. Mm-hmm. So I still do things like sign the kids up for their activities for the most part. Mm-hmm. I'm the one who will say, okay, don't forget there's this, even though it's in both our calendars. Mm-hmm. And he will update my calendar with what's happening too. Right. So, but it's still just a little bit different, I'd say.
So it's not as intuitive.
What women would think of as intuitive.
Right.
But here's the thing I do actually find quite shocking. What we discovered in our experience was we had our children when we lived in Canada. Mm-hmm. In Canada, you can take a year off, paid through unemployment, shared by the husband or the 2 parents, right? So if a mother takes 4 months, the father can take 8 months, right? You balance it out. But what's happened is the social pressures on men not to leave the workforce and the social pressure for women to leave the workforce ends up reinforcing the stereotypes.
Right.
So for me, I took a much shorter period of time. I took 4.5 months with my children.
But were you okay with that?
I was totally okay with that. I mean, I was building businesses. It was time for me to go back, but in Canada, that was,
It's like you're taboo.
right. It's socially unacceptable in a way.
It's like, what kind of savage are you?
Right.
Don't you miss your children?
Right. And then men, the pressure is that, heaven forbid you take time away from a mother and their child,
Right.
and I'm like, well, yeah, I don't understand it. And I think that men are missing the boat in terms of fighting for their rights to have time with their children.
So there's only one other person that I know that's taking paternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
His wife had a certain amount of paternity leave, and now he's doing the paternity leave. And I said to him, "You're actually going to go and spend time with your kid?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he actually has found out it's harder with the kid than it is on the job.
Oh my goodness, it's so much easier to go to work. I hear that fairly often. Yeah, I mean, what happens, and I think this is so important to understand, when you are an executive, when you're building your career and your success, to have it so that your children have as many people to rely on as possible. I was listening to different interviews that you've done, having children in your life, having people that care about the children that you bring into the world, that is so important. And I know, having my husband stay at home with my children from when they were 4.5 months till they were a year meant that they could completely rely on him.
Right.
It's literally, what's your schedule this week? Well, I'm out on Monday, I'm back Thursday.
Right.
It's just, that's what it is.
Right.
There's no preparing things. There's no guilt. There's no, that's another whole story. I remember the first time somebody said to me when I became a mom, and they said, you must really miss your children. And I literally had one of those moments where everything goes quiet. And I thought, oh my goodness, they're asking me to take the whole world of guilt, put it on my back, and carry it around with me for the rest of my life.
Like a harness.
Yes, literally. And I put my hand out physically and said, oh, no, I love them.
But I don't miss them. Exactly.
Exactly.
But that's you being honest, right? And I think a lot of women who have children who are in the corporate world do feel like, I don't miss my children, but they feel that they have to say it just to make it easy on them. But do you think it's changing? Like, women are just saying, look, I want to have the baby. I want to have a baby, but now I'm just going to choose a husband that wants to stay home with them.
I don't know. I mean, I talk about that because at the end of the day, if you're driven, at the C-Suite Network and in Hero Club, it's all about, great leadership, building great businesses as quickly as we possibly can to have maximum positive impact. There's not a lot of other time. So do you want to have somebody in your life that can support that? And, I talk a lot about picking the right people for your mission.
Right.
And that's home life and all your support networks from a personal perspective, and then at work.
So you said something that really makes a difference to me, because it sounds to me like yours is a balance. You have your home life and you have your work life, and the two come together. It's not separate and apart. Many of us live in the fact that it's separate. I have my home life and then I have my work life, and the two are separate. Yeah. And I am this person at work and I'm this person at home, which is like, no, that's schizophrenia.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, that's what it is today, is that integration.
Yes, absolutely.
And how do you make it make sense and live in the moment,
right?
And ensure that you're being authentic and that you're on the right mission with the right people.
Awesome.
And if you can get that right, man, you're just driven every day. I mean, we say you can't wait to get at it the next morning.
Right.
And I think sharing that with our children is really important. I mean, with my children, I want them to be on their own mission. Right. I don't want their lives to be about impressing me. Right. My goodness, I hope they have much larger ambitions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In terms of what it is for them. I mean, I have this, view of them as my children. I can't wait to discover what
you
theirs
also
is.
have a view of them as people with their own passions, with their own purpose, which again, I love to talk about this book that I'm reading, this The Seed of the Soul by Gary Zukav. And Gary Zukav talks about having children. We see our children as spirits, souls that are independent, that have come here to live their life, and we don't see them as our children. We tell them what to do, and this is about our personality. No, they have their own personality, they have their own souls, they have their own vision, and they're making their own mission. And we're here to help them along that path.
I couldn't agree more, Noreen. Like, I really think this whole helicopter notion and the reflection of me, I think that's such nonsense. I truly don't think anyone deserves in any way, anyone does anything to deserve to be as important as a parent is in a whole human being's life. I just think that's a premise you have to start with. And
where was it the statement about, there's a statement about, we're just the oh God, it's gone right out of my head. We are it would be like I can't remember the bloody word. It's like, we're here to support our children. We're not we're not this, oh my God, it'll come to me. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But the word is, it's almost like we are watching them, we are keeping them, but we don't own them.
No, absolutely
they're free
not.
to be however, and we're just here to support them to be the best that they can be, whoever they choose to be, not choosing, because there's so many of us that have chosen to have lives and careers that are based upon our parents. My mother wants me to be a doctor, so I'm going to be a doctor. And you hate being a doctor.
Well, I'm so grateful to be on that journey of their discovery. Yes. And the other thing I hope to teach them is that I'm living my life. So, I want them to live theirs. Right. And again, with my parents, they were never, exactly what are you going to be doing? And I didn't have a curfew. You were left to be what free. I studied was up to me. It was my choice. I
was feral.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my husband said, in some ways you had that sort of upbringing of, a young man that's able to go and sow their oats, like I did a lot of different things. I tried a lot of different things.
You were free.
Yeah. And my nature is to be very committed. I was a competitive figure skater at the Olympic Training Center in Canada. We trained 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. So trust me, I had no time to get in trouble. I was a grinder. Yes, but that was my choice. My mother sat me down every year and said, okay, this is what you need to do. I had to get A's in school. I had to pack all my own stuff. There was no helicoptering, anything. And I had chores. And part of that was the responsibility of my brother and sister as well, which, even though we're 8 years and 11 years apart, we are so close. I was up in Canada this weekend for my brother's 40th birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, it was my choice. So there was no joke about what this was. It was very consciously my choice of what I wanted to do.
So we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Do you love or are you intrigued about New York City and its neighborhoods? I'm Jeff Goodman, host of Rediscovering New York, a weekly show that showcases New York's history and its extraordinary neighborhoods. Every Tuesday live at 7 p.m., we focus on a particular neighborhood and explore its history, its vibe, its feel, and its energy. Tune in live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on talkradio.nyc.
Do you like comic books and movies? How about TV and pop culture? Then you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Michael Dolce, host of Secrets of the Sire. Joined every week by my co-host Hassan, Lord of the Radio Godwin. Together, we have over 15 years experience creating graphic novels, screenplays, and more. Join us as we bring you the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
we're back. So we're back. This is Noreen Sumpter on Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, and I'm back with Tricia Benn. So Tricia, I want to know, what is success for you, right, personally? What does it mean to you? Because it means different things to people, you know, and I think success is more than just money and things like that today. And I also want to know, what is success for the Heroes Club?
So success for me, what we talk about with our business and how we deliver on being a hero company ourselves is conditions of satisfaction. Okay. So I'll share one of them. I mean, one of them for me is to reach to my great every day and help others get to their great.
Right. And so how would you know when you're at your great? So like you wake up tomorrow morning, what is that great that you're reaching to?
So that great for me is I'm building, I'm building a network, a team, partnerships, and CEOs, founders, executives, investors. I'm building with them so that they have maximum success to impact their communities. So all of our members are giving back, are building philanthropic organizations, are doing all kinds of amazing positive things in their communities. Right. And in the Hero Club, our mission is twofold. So we want to grow our members' businesses as quickly as possible. And we want to create a movement of great leaders that are willing to put their stake in the ground to say, you know what, it matters that you do the right thing. Right. And it just so happens that actually delivers greater success. I mean, it obviously has to be authentic. You have to put your money where your mouth is, essentially. But that's what we're driving toward. And so, what does that look like? I'm building a successful platform with my team and certainly the co-founders of our organization, Jeffrey Hazlett, Carl Post, and our partners to be able to create that kind of impact. Jeffrey just released his 4th book called The Hero Factor. Right. It's basically a manifesto. It's where, good to great left off. And it's that next step of how do you get that multiplier effect of really bringing in your mission, your values, and the alignment of your people and the approach you take to the people that are, your employees, your clients, your suppliers, et cetera, and really deliver on impact.
So what I'm hearing is a level of consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. And to take that stand that it really does matter in business. So many of us were brought up that, if you start talking about anything other than numbers and the ROI, you're done. Right. Now in the Hero Club, we say, look, if you're talking about ROI, there are lots of other things you can go and do.
Absolutely.
Because we know the ROI. That's just the table stakes of where you start, but our group, we're measuring way beyond that to, the humanity of what we're doing. And, our original.
What's one of those humanitarian?
I mean, well, let me tell you our origin story. So we acquired the Hero Club from Rob Ryan. Rob Ryan was the original hero. Right. He built Ascend Communications from the ground up, sold it in '99 for over $20 billion. And even though he had no obligation to do so, he profit shared with every single employee.
Nice.
So yeah, not only was it the largest private tech sale ever, and the record held until LinkedIn was acquired by Microsoft, he also made more millionaires than has ever been done in an exchange like that.
Nice.
Now, he formed the Hero Club, and the idea was, well, if we can find other great leaders that are like-minded, that would do the same thing, and help them accelerate as quickly as possible, not only would they do what he did in terms of that immediate impact in the communities, obviously the immediate communities, this is the backbone of our economy and ultimately democracy. Right. If you don't have the diversification of wealth, you don't have the diversification of power. Right. And so this was a big part of why Rob tapped Jeffrey on the shoulder to acquire the Hero Club. Right. Now, I think it was the price of a coffee that he acquired the club for. Wow. But Rob really did tap him on the shoulder. Right. We've built the whole C-suite network to support that kind of large extended growth. Our base is about 350,000 executives that are at least $2.5 million in revenue. and up, obviously.
So you have a lot, not just economics, but you have a lot of brain power.
Absolutely, yes. And so we're
purpose power.
Exactly. And we're building on that. So we have a member meeting coming up in Las Vegas next week. And, our hero curriculum is all about how we create operational success and the alignment of those values into our businesses and the way that we treat and empower our people and then get that success. And we're actually ending our 3-day event packing meals for children at Sababa Way. The co-founders of Sababa Way are members of ours.
What's Sababa Way?
It is a water company. And so for every bottle of water that's purchased, X number of X percentage goes to food for children.
Right.
And they have pantries that they've built, and they fed over 2 million children.
So that
Hero Club members are going to be packing lunches. They've already gone and visited just even before we go and packed 2,000 lunches. So we're
No, but I love that, because what I'm hearing is that with all this brain power, with all this economical power, with all this, just the general power, it says to me that there is enough for everyone.
Well, yes, it's coming absolutely from a position of abundance. And every one of our Hero Club members, they're all true entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders, and we also have investors in our membership that care about social impact, which is, obviously phenomenal. But they've all pledged the Hero Club pledge.
Right.
And if I were
what is the pledge?
Yeah, well, if I were to thumbnail it, it's lead with integrity, transparency, give back to your communities, and share in your success. And so every one of our members is pledged to that. So when we get everyone together, it's what we say is, okay, we're taking the armor off and we're having those real conversations
in the dirt,
exactly. Let's go, because at the end of the day, we weed out, so we do a lot of vetting. If somebody can't take the armor off and doesn't have that place, in terms of abundance to come and bring and give, as well as
there's a lot of discovery going on there.
It's
discovering who am I, what am I about, what do I care about, what am I really committed to?
Yeah, and how do I learn, right? So it's opening up to, there's so many innovative ways of approaching problems that have been solved in other industries and other regions and so on. So if you just let that guard down, it's incredible to see how these leaders have come together and they're building and doing all kinds of things that have phenomenal impact.
I'm just thinking about your meeting. You guys must be on fire.
We are. I mean, we've tenfolded our business now. It's a business as well, so very excited. And I love, that's one of my passions.
It
business
sounds
models.
like it's a business because it's got purpose and passion, but it has flexibility and fluidity is what I'm experiencing.
Absolutely.
By what you're sharing.
And one of the dynamics that I'm so excited about is that our diversity.
How excited are you?
Oh my gosh, I told you I can't get up fast enough to get going, but our diversity is tremendous. When we first acquired the club, I joke I was the picture of diversity. We had one woman in the membership. And now we have all race, religion, obviously gender. Age is a huge bias when you look at CEOs and founders and so on. All regions of North America. We have a tremendous veteran group within our membership, and I was telling you earlier. I mean, we talk about great leadership and we use the hero story with all the humility in the world. And Rob Ryan himself said, my father was a real hero. He was a veteran, and so, quite literally with all the humility in the world, we say, well, we're aspiring to be heroes every single day. Sometimes we knock it out of the park. And the rest of it's really hard slogging and having great people at your back. And
a hero never knows that he's a hero. It's others that tell him that he's a hero.
Exactly. Yeah. And having a place where everyone that maybe didn't, hasn't had great representation in that CEO, board of directors kind of positioning, this creates a level playing ground. Everybody comes into the Hero Club as a peer, and then everybody has something to teach and share. At our upcoming meeting, our veterans are doing a panel. I can't wait. I mean, who knows better leadership in adversity?
Right. One of the things that we talked about in I call it our green room, was veterans. You give your life to fight these wars, and whether necessary or unnecessary, but you've pledged to go out there and defend America and whatever that is. And you come back and you've seen your friends killed, or you've seen all kinds of atrocities on either sides, and you come back into the corporate world and you find people bickering about things that are nonsensical. It must be really difficult.
Yeah, I was saying to you, Noreen, earlier, I mean, the humility, the just awe that I have for those that have served for our freedoms, it is just tremendous. And having come through 3 enterprise-sized organizations, the whole notion of a veteran, being out there fighting for our democracy, for our freedoms, and then coming back into the total nonsense of politics in an enterprise-sized organization is just overwhelming. And
it's like, it would be like, this is what I gave my life for.
Yeah,
like
for this nonsense. And for somebody to act like they've actually done something that doesn't make any bit of difference. Right. I don't know. When the table stakes are small, people kind of fight the most.
What I saw was also when you were speaking about, I think of old school bosses that it was like, grab, get the money. There's no relationship building. It's like, make the sale, kill. Remember that? Kill. And then move on to the next one. It wasn't about nurturing a relationship, having return business, that kind of stuff. What I'm hearing is that I'm hearing a different kind of CEO. I'm hearing a different kind of entrepreneur that, like I said, with the flexibility and the fluidity and the consciousness to make a stand and to have purpose, but not just for his own self, but for the people that work for him and also the larger community.
We truly believe the majority of entrepreneurial leaders are making a phenomenal difference to their communities. What we see in the news is all the bad actors. Right.
Yeah.
And
well, they're never going to show the good news.
Right. And the fact of the matter is, CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, it is a very lonely place to be. Ultimate responsibility, ultimate risk.
Everything. No B plan.
Oh, you're all in.
Yeah. I would say that the people that have a B plan, they're not really all in.
Right.
They can't have a B plan.
I mean, we talk about in the Hero Club, we have 4 pillars. It's connection, education and services, all our peer-to-peer workshopping, all of that kind of stuff, capital, access to capital. But one of our pillars is life balance and fun. So actually being able to take off the cape and just play with other people who understand you're not crazy for doing what you're doing, but will also care for you. One of the most popular meetings we've had recently, just to advise and help our members, was on personal wealth. Just like our health, we don't make the doctor's appointment, and so we're not taking care of our personal health because we're financial health as well, because we're all in. So these are the things that we're supporting these great leaders and their success, and also getting that message out there.
Do you find that you're attracting more women now?
Oh, phenomenally so. Yeah, I'd say at least a third to 40% of our membership is now women.
Because we are the fastest growing segments of businesses that are out there.
Yeah, it's getting up into those larger sizes, right?
That's where,
for women,
that's where
getting,
the challenge is.
Getting the real investment dollars. That's really the challenge. And having this kind of community. So, I've been in a number of discussions about that, and the whole notion that in the 80s women reached parity for education. So by now, it should be equal. In the boardroom, it's absolutely not. And so my belief is, for women, it's not about more education. It's being part of the real business conversations. So again, in the Hero Club, I'm so elated to see those real conversations. You don't choose people for a board position because of their expertise.
Right.
It's table stakes. Of course. You choose them because you know they have your back,
Right.
and they happen to have that skill set as well.
Mhm.
Right. And you only do that through relationships. And so if you only have
And they have integrity.
right.
Yeah.
And you only have, most of the social networks that are out there are very much based on like.
Yes.
So I meet with people that are the same level of CEO. I meet with people that are in the same area as me, the same industry as me, the same age as me. Now, what if I break that up and I create a relationship
Right.
where, you're really getting to know someone you would never have met.
Right.
Now we start to make a real difference.
Do we have
Right.
somebody calling in? Yeah, let's take it.
Oh, sorry. She hung up on me.
Oh, whoever you were that called in, call in again. We'll take your question. What was the question? Oh, so, okay. That was, we should, are we at the last segment?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that's gone
going
so
quickly.
fast. That's what everybody says. That means it's a really good show. So we've got like no minutes left. Okay, we'll take a break and we'll come back.
Okay.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
The best designs for your life start at home. I'm David Thiergartner, interior designer and host of At Home. Listen live Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as we talk to the very best professionals about interior design and the design that's all around us, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
So we're back on Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, and we're coming to the end of the show. And I just want to thank Tricia for coming on, especially since she's not living in New York. I'm just like so blown away by that. So Tricia, thank you so much for coming on the show. Would you like to give out the website for the Heroes Club so that people can look it up and find out more about it? And, you never know, there might be a few people that might want to join it.
Absolutely, Noreen. So thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. You're
Literally, the time's gone by in a millisecond, it feels like. So our websites are for the Hero Club. It's HeroCEOClub.com, HeroCEOClub.com. And our C-Suite network, the larger platform is C-Suite, S-U-I-T-E.
It's one of those places everybody wants to get to. It's a C-suite.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and so they should. There are a lot of great things about being in the C-suite.
So thank you so much. I really, this has been great, and we could talk forever, but it has to come to an end. So, we have a few more minutes. We've got 6 more minutes.
There we go.
We're the lucky one. So, is there anything that I usually ask some of my guests this, is there anything that you would like to ask me to ask you, and I'll ask you right now?
Oh my goodness. What would I want you to ask me, Noreen? This has been so interesting. I mean, I was just saying when we were on break that the idea that you could inspire somebody to truly embrace who they are as their authentic selves and not apologize for that, and then build their passion around that, so I guess I'd ask you to ask me, what's inspired me or how I think.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, okay.
So fast forward, you're retired.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine retirement.
Are you one of these individual like myself that's like, we're never going to retire because we're just loving what we're doing?
Yes.
I always think that retirement, unless you have got something that's going to keep you going and keep you excited and keep you engaged in life, it's just, it's like a waiting ground for death.
Yeah. I mean, so one of my other conditions of satisfaction is I want to learn until the day I die.
Absolutely.
There's just so much to do. And it's funny, my approach, and as you might imagine, I work with, we have hundreds of thousands of executives in our network. I work very closely with hundreds of CEOs and founders and so on. And I'll say to people, or I hear, that makes me so jealous or whatever. I love it because if I had another life to lead, Noreen, I'd want to live yours. If I had another life to lead, I want to live all of these people's lives.
Absolutely.
That I am so inspired by. So I think, really embracing what's so wonderful about so many incredible people that are in their own way making their difference in the world.
Right.
And looking at how can what you're doing contribute to that, and how do you take from that something that inspires you, as opposed to this whole notion we've been taught, and social media has been used in such a negative way that way, that person has more than me, that person has something I don't have. Look at it. We
all have ours.
It's our thousands of lives that we could lead.
Well, let me tell you, seriously, thousands of lives. I believe in lives, not like we die this, I shed this skin bag and my soul goes into the all of it, and then I recreate myself if I want to into a new experience. I call this, ever since I can remember, this is the university, this is school, right? And so we're learning, and then we die, and then we can come again and add on. So I think that there's when you speak about living somebody else's life, it's like there's so many diverse opportunities for you to live into. And it's like, to me, what I'm hearing is that you have a wow day. Like every day is like, wow.
Oh, every day. There are so many great people doing great things. And I think
we never really hear about them. We always hear the negative stuff, the bad stuff. I always say we need the good news.
Yeah. And how to share that in a way that it is news, I think is really critically important, because I think otherwise also you get that perception is reality scenario, right? Where it's like, power means power hungry. And you miss the fact that the majority of leaders are doing tremendous things and sacrificing like crazy. And, and there are those phenomenal stories. And so, I guess, if we could inspire one person to say, I'm not going to do things because other people think I should, or because I think I should because of some other outside thing,
So you want people to live from the inside out. That's what I said. Life gets created from the inside out, not the outside in. When we create from the outside in, it causes confusion, it causes upset. We never have enough. We're not good enough and all this. But when we live from the inside out, it's like we have these tentacles that go, like spidey tentacles. We just go out into the world and attract that which we are.
Yes.
So that's what I'm hearing you say.
Absolutely. And then, the other thing is just the hard prioritize what you absolutely have to get done. And that might even just be 2 or 3 things a day. I find it's amazing how those little things that you learn early on in your career come back as you go through the different stages and you're building and growing businesses and so on, where you think 2 or 3 things, are you kidding me? And really it's like when you're putting out hundreds of fires, if you can get those 2 or 3 things done.
Good. And also remembering to be a good clean up your messes. Don't hurt people. Leave people feeling good. You can say anything to anyone. I had to learn this. You can say anything to anyone about anything, but it's how you make them feel, right? Because as we rise, remember there's people that's rising as we rise. So, and then we meet people on the way. This has happened so many times. You meet people on the way up who you remember when they looked down at you or treated you poorly. You're like, and the person that knows that they did, because we're all growing, are able to be responsible for that action, and then it's all forgotten.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is when you come from that position of abundance, that high water raises old boats. I had a group come in to speak with me today, and they said, oh, well, we're going after the same audience. I don't know. Do you see a conflict? I said, absolutely not.
No.
I need hundreds, thousands of you.
Exactly. And there's enough for everyone.
And it's tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean, the opportunity is tremendous. So, we're constantly on the lookout for those great community leaders
So give your email address again.
There we go.
And then we'll complete and we'll say goodbye.
Okay.
So what's your email address again? Both of them.
HeroCEOClub.com and C-suite, S-U-I-T-E, network.com.
All right. And that is the end of the show. And thank you for chiming in. And I'll see you again next week. Bye.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Noreen.
you so much.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.